All right. Welcome to the Can Be Well first webinar for this fall season. We'll run them every month through the winter. We're glad to have a few people on, and we know a lot of people are looking for the recording on this, so we realize that many people will pick it up later, and we're good with that. I'm Linda Orr Easthouse. I'm one of the directors on Can Be Well on the board this year. Been a really fun experience, a lot of work, but great experience to be on the board. I highly recommend volunteering on the committees and board, but it's been well worth the time and effort put into it. One of the major things that we want to do this winter is really help all of our members and those who should be members to understand what it is that we as Can Be Well do and why we do it and how we do it, and what you will benefit from it and what you will gain from it, as well as what you will put into it, because it's always a two-way street. We get out of something what we put into it. And so we want to talk about kind of both sides of that equation, but we're really looking at educating the membership, and even more so educating a lot of people who should be members but don't know anything about us. And we're hoping that this webinar will help you as members and others who are watching it really understand why Can Be Well is going to be one of your best friends, and why we can provide a lot of things for you and a lot of benefit for you and your practice and what you do and the way you do it. Most of you who are members are well aware of the process we've been through in the last year of changing the name and kind of growing our mission and vision and refocusing a little bit to be more in tune with the way the world works today and the way our different modalities and disciplines all work today. For other new people, Can Be Well used to be Can Ask, because of the issues in Ontario where specialized kinesiology became a problem. We moved away from that terminology of specialized kinesiology, not just because of Ontario, but because in our research and our working through all of this, we discovered that many of the provinces are in the process of doing that too. And although Ontario has already sort of gone whole hog on it, many other provinces are going to be in a very similar position within the next few years. And as well, a number of the insurance companies are already differentiating between the kinesiologies and are reserving kinesiology for the COCO kind of work. And so there's a number of things pushing that agenda very quickly that are totally beyond our scope of control. And therefore we have moved from calling ourselves specialized kinesiology to calling ourselves bioenergetic wellness, which is a much better description of what we do anyway. So tonight I'd like to kind of take you through some very basics of what membership in Can Be Well is all about and what our standards of practice are, because that's a new area that we're just introducing. And there's a lot of confusion between membership and standards of practice and, you know, what does it all mean? And so I'd like to just kind of go through a PowerPoint and really define those out and clarify that. And please feel free to ask questions along the way. You can simply put a question in the chat box and we'll try to monitor that as we go. Or if you want to raise your hand, we'll see that little flag come up and I'll try to keep an eye on that. And if worst comes to worst, just break in and ask your question. I won't mind at all. So let's make this a little bit of a conversation as well. I don't want to just do all the talking. So give me a second while I share the file here with you. And you should be able to see that there. So this is technically the benefits of Can Be Well membership. Can Be Well meaning the Canadian Association of Bioenergetic Wellness. Can Be Well is our acronym that we love because it says so much about what we do, but Can Be Well is Canadian Association of Bioenergetic Wellness. Oopsie, I guess I can't see the chat room while I'm in this mode, so if there's chat questions there, somebody else will have to read them to me. Can Be Well.
Linda, sorry to interrupt. We can only see half of your PowerPoint screen. I'm not sure why.
Oh, because the whole thing shows on mine. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's only showing up as half.
Stop that share and restart it then.
Okay.
So maybe I need to put this in full screen first and then go to Oopsie, not that. Won't get me there. This one. Come on, Zoom, come back. And share it from that position where it is already full screen and see if that works. That better?
Yes, that is better so far.
And if I do that?
Yep, that's great. Thanks.
Awesome. Don't know why that did it, but I guess it didn't share properly the first time around. So let's go on here. CanBeWell is Canada's first national health organization that encompasses the disciplines that assess the biofield through some form of muscle monitoring or bioenergetic feedback. So that's what makes us different from somebody else. The disciplines that assess the biofield through some form of muscle monitoring or bioenergetic feedback. So that includes all of those who do muscle testing, as we used to call it, which in actual fact, most of us do muscle monitoring, as well as those like Brain Gym and others who use a different form of assessing the biofield, but they're all looking for bioenergetic feedback. That's really the key. What unites us is monitoring the bioenergetic feedback in the face of stresses or changes or goals or whatever it is that we're asking the person to interact with. We have some way of assessing the feedback either through a muscle or through their bioenergetic field in some way. So that then excludes people who do entirely distance healing through some kind of a spiritual healing process or some kind of a energy process that is not looking at the biofield. But it includes all those that are doing some kind of muscle monitoring or bioenergetic feedback. So we're working on who fits exactly into that definition. We have some obvious ones. Touch for Health clearly fits. Brain Gym clearly fits. Natural Bioenergetics, we used to be called Health Kinesiology. We also had to change our name for the same reasons. So Natural Bioenergetics, an obvious fit. There are many others that are also obvious fits, and those are the clear ones, but there are many that are kind of a little bit on the edge, and those we'll define as we go. We'll work through that process a little more and figure it out. But that is really the defining feature of who belongs in CanBeWell. Groups like Reiki that don't use the body in any way as a feedback mechanism would not be part of CanBeWell. Some of the sound healing groups that do use the body feedback systems would be part of it. And so there are some choices to be made there as to who fits. It isn't open to just any healing modality. It's those who are fitting that definition. So as we said, we have history with Touch for Health, with Natural Bioenergetics, Brain Gym, which is now called Breakthroughs International, and there will shortly be a new organization, Brain Gym Canada, who will be sort of their umbrella organization for all the various brain gyms. They're all very much part of this, and we're very excited to have so many organizations working together to make CanBeWell really work well and to make it really reach out to so many people who do what we do but don't know where to connect with another organization or don't know where to connect with the international scene. We have sort of revised the vision statement for CanBeWell from what it was under CanAsk, because we wanted to be a little bit more inclusive. We also wanted to be a little broader in what we offer to our membership. So our new vision statement is creating a world where bioenergetic wellness disciplines and methods are recognized, valued, and utilized by people making choices to improve their quality of life. So our vision is still very much the bioenergetic wellness disciplines that fit our definition of what that means, and that we want people to recognize that we want that to become a household name. Bioenergetic wellness needs to be as well known as traditional Chinese medicine is, in my opinion, because I think we have just as much to offer. And so we want it to be recognized, we want it to be valued, and we want it to be used both by people who learn it for themselves as self-care and help their families, and those who use it more as a professional practice and work with clients. So in either of those scenarios, we want it used by people to help them make the choices that improve their quality of life. Whether that is in the health side, in the professional development side, in the business side, in the emotional side, we want to leave those open to the various disciplines to function in the areas where they do their best work. And our mission statement has also been revised. It's not a whole lot different in its scope, but we've kind of used very different language. So it might sound very different than it used to, but we're really trying to aim at the same scope and just put it into the language that is more inclusive of all of our members' work. As champions for personal choice in health and wellness, our members work together encouraging ongoing professional development in the field of bioenergetic wellness to better provide services and education to the public. So our mission as an organization is to help the members to help the public. So we don't have as many services directly to the public, we serve our members. And we help them, the individual members, to provide better services and better education about bioenergetic wellness to the public. So membership. Over the past year, a lot of you have heard a lot about membership versus standards of practice. In the past, we didn't have the definition or the division of the two. Membership and standards of practice were all kind of mushed into one thing, and it was never defined fully. And so your membership also included what level of practice you had. So we had, a professional membership, and that were the people who were practicing, sort of full time or teaching or doing more, versus the general members who weren't. And it got very messy in trying to figure out that. So we separated it into two completely different things. We have membership categories and we have standard of practice levels. And you can have a membership without having anything to do with the standard of practice. We're going to get to those in a few minutes, but I want you to just be clear that membership does not require you to meet any standard of practice. That is a service that is offered separately. So we used to have what we called student members. And for the first year, when they first started their training, they could come in at a very reduced price. However, many times we have people who are not necessarily students. They've been established practitioners or established facilitators or whatever term they use for many years. They've just never been a member of Can Be Well before. They didn't realize that we had things that we could offer them that would benefit them. So we've changed that category to introductory. So if you're new to Can Be Well, if you've not previously been a member of Can Ask in the past, you qualify for the introductory membership, whether that's because you are a new student or whether that's because you're just new to Can Be Well and looking to check us out. So it covers sort of anybody from those who are looking to understand a little bit about us to those who are first timers looking for a professional home and they get a discount their first year. The second is the general membership, and this is where the bulk of our membership resides. These are people who work in the field part-time or they're studying. Some general members are retired, or some of them are even just interested supporters who are interested in furthering the work of the Canadian Association of Bioenergetic Wellness, who are interested in pushing forward the understanding in our communities and in our country of what these disciplines have to offer the general public. Any of those kinds of people can be a general member. And a general member gets you access to things like this webinar and the webinars that we do monthly. Normally the webinar is free to members and paid by those who are not members. This one is free to everyone because we want everybody to know about us. You can also participate in the monthly community chats where we just simply get together and share what's going on and encourage each other and share success stories and share questions. We'll see a whole bunch of benefits a little later in the program here, but the general members basically are there because it's a part-time, it's a study, it's a support, but this isn't your profession. This isn't what you do to earn your money day in, day out. then if you don't need that extra stuff that a full-time person needs, this is the category that will get you everything that you need. The final one is what we call a full member, and that reflects those who are actively practicing either as a facilitator or instructors working with clients and students. Now, our bylaws say actively practicing. In the past, and they have said that for many years, by the way, that's nothing new. That has been in CanAsk for probably 15 years. The difference is that has never been defined before, and actively practicing was simply whoever said they were actively practicing, and nobody ever put any definition on what that meant. We're now saying that that represents a time commitment, and it's more those who are really dedicating this as their full-time work. Those who are putting in at least 200 hours per year towards that discipline work. Now, when we say it's 200 hours, people go, oh, that's a lot. But when you think about it, that's 17 hours a month or 3.5 hours a week towards your business. That's not very much, but that's what we mean by actively practicing. Most of the people in this membership category would certainly be doing way over that. But to get into the full membership category, that's all you need. It's actually quite a low bar to get into the full membership category. And the difference with this is primarily that the full members will have access to put their own classes onto the website for the class lists. You have some advantages in advertising and other things where you get some discounts. You have the opportunity to do some things that the general members have no need to do, but are a real benefit for those who are full members. Okay, so those are the membership levels. We have introductory, general, and full. And that's about what do you get from CanAsk in terms of services, and what do you give to CanAsk in terms of resources and energy and time, and how are you supporting us and how are we supporting you? That's what membership is all about. Then we move to the other side, which is our new branch, which is standards of practice. And this has actually been in our bylaws for many, many years, but we didn't have the time or manpower or ability to really pursue this in the past. We've got some wonderful committees working. We've got a lot of people involved these days. Things are growing, and there is much more need for this kind of thing. Nowadays, most of the insurance companies won't give you practice insurance unless you have a third-party organization, like a professional organization, that will verify your competency. And that's what the standards of practice are all about. I see there's a question there on the chat, but I can't read it within this mode. You want to read that to me?
No, it's not a question. Rochelle is just saying, hi, sorry, I'm late.
Welcome, Rochelle. So the standards of practice are this sort of new beast where we as a professional association, and I think that's also something that maybe hasn't really ever been really clear in the past. We were a professional association. We have always been a professional association. However, we never really focused on that side of it. We were more a support club for ourselves than anything else. But aside from that, which is very important, we need to also be the face to the public for our membership. And that's where these standards of practice come in. And they are called levels because each level has different standards. So you can be at one level or a higher level or a higher level, and eventually we'll have one more level that we don't have yet. And those standards of practice then actually tell the outsiders, like insurance companies, like if you go to get your business license from the city, they're going to want to know, well, who says you're certified or qualified or whatever. And that's where these standards of practice provide that for you. Our standards of practice set out the standards for recognizing levels of competency in the field of bioenergetic wellness to increase the depth and breadth of expertise among holistic wellness facilitators in Canada. So our practice standards are for Canada. We have looked at 8 different countries and places where they have standards of practice around what is called specialized kinesiology in the rest of the world, which is called bioenergetic wellness here, and we've taken all of their various standards of practice and oiled them down into a spreadsheet and said, okay, the minimum requirements are this, the maximum requirements are that. We want to be about here, just above minimum to make sure everybody can get in, but we don't want to be below minimum. We want to, if we're going to call ourselves professional, we need to meet the same standards that everybody else in the world uses to call themselves professionals in this industry. And so that's where we set our bar. We took what the IKC, what the UK Kinesiology Federation, the German Kinesiology Federation, IASC, many other organizations, the Energy Kinesiology Association in the US, eight of them in total, and figured out what do they require, what are their standards, what does it take to be called a professional by everybody else in the world. We're actually the last of the major countries to set professional standards for this industry for ourselves. And so I think it's really important that we have done this, and I'm very proud and pleased that we have been able to accomplish this. But it really does allow us to then say, if you meet this standard, you can call yourself this. And if you meet this standard, you can call yourself that. And it allows us to then, when, say, an insurance company phones in and says, hey, so-and-so's applying for insurance, they say they're certified in this or whatever, you know, what's your take on them? We could say, well, they're a member. Or if you've done a standards of practice revision, I guess, we've revised or we've looked at your standards of practice, we can say, well, we can tell you that they are an associate standard of practice and they have this many hours of training and they've done this kind of thing, and yes, they're fully qualified to do that, and or they're a professional and they've had this many hours of practice and they've had this many hours of training, and we can then provide a sort of guaranteed statement of your competency for the people who check out and want to know about you. You'd be surprised to come to an organization like Can Be Well and ask, I'm thinking about going to see this person, you know, what are their qualifications? And if you've done the standards of practice, we'll be able to say what your qualifications are. And if you haven't, then we can say, well, they're a member of our association, but that doesn't really mean much in terms of what we can tell them outside. It only means what you get from us as opposed to what we can tell others about you. So your membership category does not define your level. You can be a member without participating in the following standards of practice levels at all. If you don't want to do standards of practice, if it doesn't matter to you, if you don't care, it's not going to have any impact on your business or on your clients or on your insurance, then you don't need to do them, and that's perfectly fine. There is no requirement from us for you to do that. This is a service that we offer to our members to give them that backing and standing in a professional level that other people want to know about. So there are 3 standards of practice at this point. We will eventually add a 4th one, but we're going to start with 3 to get everybody up to speed first, and then we'll eventually add the last one, or maybe more than one more, but at least one more. So a student level, those who have taken at least 60 hours of class but have not yet completed a discipline's core training. So if you've only taken, say, Touch for Health 1 or 2, or you've taken Natural Bioenergetics 1, or you've taken the Brain Gym introductory course, you're not a student level yet. You're just dabbling in them, exploring them, figuring them out what you want to do. Once you get to 60 hours of actual class time, then you can enter the student level of the standard of practice. And you will stay at a student level until you complete the requirements to move to an associate level. And to be an associate level, that means you've gained certification in one discipline. So for Touch for Health, that means you've done Touch for Health 1 to 4. You've done the 60 hours of the book and the reading and the assessment, and you've been IKC assessed, or however that name is. I'm sorry, I don't know all the vocabulary for Touch for Health because that's not my discipline, but you're certified. However, you still don't have 180 hours. So it's certified in a discipline with at least 180 hours of study. So you've gotten certified in that thing, whichever one it is. Then you will need to take other courses in related disciplines or further higher up courses in that same discipline in order to get 180 hours of class time. Once you have that 180 hours and certified in a discipline, then you can meet the associate level. For instance, in natural bioenergetics, we have levels 1 to 6, which is 180 hours, but there are some other things that have to be done as well. So you could get to your 180 hours and not yet be certified, not yet have finished that last certification process. And so you wouldn't be able to move up to an associate level until you had finished that certification process that we have. So those two requirements are both in there. You can stay at an associate level for the rest of your life if you want to. However, within that associate level, you are required to take 5 professionalization courses. And if you want to maintain that associate level, you will need to have completed those within 5 years. Now, many of you will have already done those courses somewhere else. You will have already done an anatomy and physiology, so all you have to do is send in the fact that you've done it and it has the right number of hours in it. You may have already taken a nutrition course. All you have to do is send it in and show that you've done it. You may have taken a practice building course. If not, then you might need to go take one. You might already have done the personal communications, the counseling course. If you've done it, many people who have done a BA in something will have covered a lot of those courses. Many of the disciplines offer those kinds of courses internally. Any of those will count. We will eventually have a list of recommended ones for those. However, if you already have done some courses, you can certainly submit them. What we will look at is, do they have the right number of class hours? Do they have the right number of homework and assignments? Was there some kind of an assessment process involved in it? And did you get a passing grade on it? If so, then we will accept that as having completed that course. So as an associate member, to stay an associate after 5 years, you will need to have completed those 5 courses if you have not already got them and just need to have them signed off by us. After that, you can stay an associate for the rest of your life if you want to. However, if you want to move to professional, then you also have to be dedicating at least 200 hours a year to your practice. That's kind of the key between associate and professional, is how much time you're spending on it. So you've got 180 hours minimum, you've got a discipline that certifies you, you've done your 5 professionalization courses, you can stay an associate forever. Or if you have built your practice, if you're practicing full-time, you're teaching a fair amount, you're getting your minimum of 200 hours a year in, remember that's only 17 hours a month, that's a pretty light requirement, you can move to professional. And so those are how we have defined that. And this is on the very low end of what the various different organizations around the world require. Many of them have much, much higher requirements than this. But because there were a number who, I think 4 out of the 8 were sort of at this level, we decided that we would accept that level as our minimum standard to maintain associate status. And then the final one is the professional level. Those who are practicing full-time, either clients or teaching or a combination thereof, have completed a core discipline and the 5 professionalization classes. So then those people can call themselves professionals. The word professional is reserved for those. When you are at the associate level, you can call yourself an associate. You're not yet a professional. Professional internationally means that you have a much broader, much more in-depth learning and practice and experience than someone who is just an associate. And so we expect that there's actually quite a leap between the two there. And we will eventually add a 3rd level on for those who have a much higher level of professionalism, who have, 1,000 or 2,000 hours of classes as opposed to 250 hours of classes. If you do your 180 plus the 5 professional classes, you'll have approximately 250 hours of classes. So to move to a professional level, a minimum is around 250 hours. There's a little bit of fudge because some of the professional classes are a few hours more or a few hours less than others, depending on which ones you take. So we will add that sort of senior professional level on a little bit later, but for now we want to get everybody through the process, everyone who wants to, through the process to get their student, associate, or professional level in place. All right, so why should you be a member? Well, one, those standards of profession, our standards of practice, are a service we offer to you to verify that for you. And part of the process of that is there will be continuing education courses, because that's a requirement within those various levels. There will be some continuing education requirements every year to maintain your status and those sorts of things. So those are things that we offer you as a benefit. But aside from that, even if you just want to be a member, you don't want anything to do with the standards of practice, perfectly welcome. We'd love to have you. There's no sort of difference between the two. You're a member, that's all we care about. Standards of practice is a service we offer you for those who find that stuff useful. One of the big things is that you get to know people working and sharing in the field in Canada and around the world. I've been in this business for 15 years. Some of you have been in it much, much longer than that. But I also travel a fair amount. I teach in a variety of different places. I train specialists in natural bioenergetics who often are the only one in their province. And they might be the only sort of bioenergetic wellness person in their little town. And it can be a very isolating, very lonely profession many times. And so Can Be Well works very hard to help you get to know other people in your profession, in this field across Canada, where you can hang out, even if it's on Zoom instead of in person. We plan to have some conferences and some get-togethers where you actually could come and hang out. And we recognize that many people do similar things, but we don't know each other because, well, this is my school and that's your school, and I don't know who's in their school and they don't know who's in my school. And so we don't really get to know each other. And often people may work actually relatively close together, or at least within, an hour or two away, and don't know each other. And Can Be Well wants to help people get to know each other, find out who's in their area, get connected through our community chats, through our webinars, through our various events, through our Facebook groups. We have private Facebook groups for those on the inside, and then we have a public Facebook group that we hope many people will post on and share. We want that to be a way to educate clients and educate other people who do similar things about us, so that they will know that we're here. So getting to know people is a really, really big part of this. We want to build a community. We want you to know others in your area, in your field, across the country, and really work as a cohesive group. Becoming a member, you can help us grow. You have contacts, you have networks. We really want to, if we want to make bioenergetic wellness a household word across the country, where people recognize what it is and look for our specialists and practitioners and members and so on, we need a big network. And the more of us there are, the more that network is going to happen. The more people know about us, the more people you will have as clients, and the more people in the community will support it and recognize it, and the more known it becomes. And we really need to sort of support each other's disciplines and each other's modalities in order to do that. You also get to be part of the advancement and recognition of complementary wellness in the country and internationally. Can Be Well has a big goal around advocacy and getting bioenergetic wellness known and standing up for our rights and standing up for our place in the marketplace and in the world of self-care and healthcare. And the more people we have involved, the better that will be. And it gives you a place where you're going to get some information on how to do it, some training on how to do it, some suggestions on what you can do, how to contact people and really help this grow across the country. You get updated and involved because we'll ask you over and over and over and over to help us, please, because we need you, really want you. And we hope you will enjoy the monthly community chats that keep us all connected and talking. We would love for you to become part of the Can Be Well leadership team by either participating on a committee or on the board. And that's a real way to grow your professional skills. You will learn a lot about running businesses, learn a lot about how organizations work, it's a training process for most people who come on, and we love to have people involved and to have people doing things. And these are ways to strengthen your professional standing in the community, to strengthen your professional understanding of how to work, and to feed into your own school and discipline some of those things, and also to help the public understand that we are a profession and not just a bunch of people doing woo-woo stuff off in the corner somewhere. You get to participate in all of our webinars, and more importantly, we hope many of you will share your knowledge by giving a webinar. To do a webinar every month, we need a lot of people doing those, and so we're hoping that many of you will actually share your knowledge and do a webinar for us. We want you to be involved. We have 2 different newsletters, a public one and a members one. So obviously the public one is for the general public, so it's less often, and it's in much more public marketing, public vocabulary, where we talk in the way a client who knows nothing about us would understand it. And then the member-only newsletter, which is much more in-depth, where we can share educational pieces, where we can do much more internally to help people. We'd love it if you will submit posts to it. We love articles. Write something about your discipline. Share an experience or a story from your clinic or from your practice or from your studies. If you find interesting information, share it with us. And please help us make these really useful things. We very shortly will have a specialty shop up on our website. We are redoing our website. New things are coming on stream all the time. The members directory should be up very shortly. The class lists have been up for some time already, and we will continue to have some specialty items there that you won't be able to get in very many other places that are specifically for our members, and we hope you will take advantage of that too. And our resource section is being built out, where there will be research, articles, all the previous webinars, many of the useful pieces of information that are still current and still up to date are in that resource section. Each of the partner organizations that are working with us, many of the different disciplines, the different schools of training are applying to be partner organizations, will have their own little section on the website where they can communicate with their own members. Within the Touch for Health, we already have a Touch for Health network where the Touch for Health specific people have webinars just to talk about Touch for Health issues or skills and practices and whatever they do. Natural Bioenergetics has one, but we have until recently been using our own platform, but we're going to probably move here just because it's available. Brain Gym is starting theirs already. They're looking at putting a network together for all the Brain Gym people so they can have Brain Gym specific sections as well. And each of the various different disciplines can have that. And so we're providing a lot of ways for people to connect and to educate and share and work together. We hope you'll find that really useful and a real benefit of being part of our organization. So if you want to be a member, if you're not already a member, we'd love to have you just email the office, and Michelle will be glad to take care of that for you. Very shortly, I shouldn't say very shortly, within a couple of months, we will have that process on the website as well, where you can just go in and join and become a member without a problem. We're redoing the whole website, so as each new section gets done, we're rolling that out rather than waiting for a whole big reveal. We're just rolling out each section as we get it. If you are already a member, we hope that some of the information in this webinar will help you recruit and encourage other people, other colleagues, other people you know who do what you do, other students that you study with, to join us. I think you see we actually have a lot to offer, and the more people we have working together, the stronger we are, the better we are, and the more we can offer each other, and the more we can really build our professional association to support our professions, to support us as practicing members in our communities, and allowing bioenergetic wellness to become that household name, to become that well-known, sought-after, appreciated discipline that many, many people feel comfortable using. So please be sure and contact the office for any of your questions. This PowerPoint will be available so that you'll have this information available to you so that you can always go back and look at it. And we hope that it will help you to educate others and bring them in and encourage them to come too. That is everything I have on here. So I'm going to stop the share